Let's have a look at 14 demands Gen Z has laid on the table for Ruto to fulfill. Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, and all citizens, our non-negotiable demands to dictator Ruto and his greedy government. Number one, obey all court orders and scrap the illegal and illegitimate CAS positions and public funded offices of First Lady, Second Lady, and Prime CS wife. Redirect the funds to employing teachers and doctors. That's number one. Number two, scrap the useless housing levy and publish proper audit of how the money has been used the last 1 year and refund all the contributions. Number three, proper and detailed audit of the national debt. Number four, sack all government officials with criminal records and integrity issues, starting with Mythical Inturi for the fake fertilizer. Number five, full restoration of Linda Mama program and total scrapping of the oppressive Social Health Insurance Fund. Number six, constitute the IBC within the next 30 days to facilitate our move to recall all rogue MPs and hold fresh elections. Number seven, obey court orders and cancel all plans to take our police force to Haiti and recall those deployed immediately. 8. Employ all GSS teachers to permanent and pensionable terms, including those sacked during the recent strike immediately. 9. Employ intern doctors on their previous payment terms. Doctors can't earn less than useless MPs. 10. Reduce all MPs' salaries and allowances to be capped at Kenya shillings 200,000. MPs cannot earn more than doctors in a third world struggling economy. It's totally unacceptable. 11. Scrap the useless and wasteful positions of women rep and use the money to pay their salaries, to increase salaries for civil servants. 12. Restore the school feeding program fund and increase funding to education and health and cut budgets to the executive and legislature. 13. All government officials and public servants must travel around with government-owned vehicles, trains, aeroplanes, and helicopters to curb corruption and conflict of interests. 14. Ruto should stop state capture of the judiciary, legislature, and resign with immediate effect for selling the country to the West and IMF. The last point is wonderful. Resign with immediate effect. The ultimate goal and objectives of all this, I believe, is for Ruto to resign, because he has proved in the last about 2 years that he is incompetent. His government has been that of trial and error. So the main objective from where I sit is for Ruto to resign. Let's put all this into perspective for Kenyans to see what's happening here. If you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give the video a like. Let's proceed. Almost everything is not working in Ruto's government. You cannot single out any sector that is working. Things are all going south. Anything this government tries doing ends up failing very badly. And I strongly believe things are failing because Ruto is incompetent. And if you look at the individuals William Ruto appointed in his government, then you can also see clearly why the government is failing. Ruto is incompetent, and he went ahead to appoint people who are also incompetent like him. People who cannot stand up against him. Yes, sir, kind of individuals. So he's failing, and the people he appointed are also even making the situation worse. I believe that's why the government is failing. Ruto is incompetent. Irrespective of what he does, as long as he's still the president, Kenyans will still be complaining because the problem is him. If you look at these demands, it's very clear that the Finance Bill 2024 was just a trigger. And we still remember the 7 days of rage that concluded today. If you look at the 7 days rage, I can give it a 90% success. Things went on as planned. Ruto is calling for negotiations. To negotiate with who? Gen Zs have no leader, no head, no tail, no back. Gen Z is just an amorphous thing. In fact, Gen Z are these young Kenyans. And now from these demands, it's clear the Generation X and these others are also now joining in. And I can only predict that in the coming months, maybe, the situation will be worse than it has been. So William Ruto has to act very fast. We don't want him to wait until things get out of control for him to come out to speak. It's very clear even before these demands that Kenyans have been against corruption in Ruto's government. Kenyans have been against all those wastages and the luxurious lives William Ruto and his team are living. All these debts William Ruto is accruing, Kenyans are against all that. William Ruto is very desperate to please the West. Kenyans have been against all those. Kenyans have been against this open tribalism in Ruto's government, where only two tribes are being given jobs in the government. Kenyans have been against this shareholding talk. All these things accumulatively only help in inflaming those demonstrations. So William Ruto should go back to the drawing board and let him, if possible, reorganize his entire government. Let him dismantle that government because as constituted, that's a government that cannot deliver. Mithika Linturi, that's also an issue that angered Kenyans seriously. When a government sells Kenyans fake fertilizer and then the minister in charge is still in office, all these things accumulatively led to the protests. You can't pinpoint or you can't say that it was just one specific thing. Since William Ruto was sworn in as the president, he has been making mistakes. All those mistakes led to these protests and demonstrations. But the ultimate goal of all these protests is for William Ruto to go. That's what a whooping majority of Kenyans are aiming at. They don't want Ruto. They want Ruto to go, Rigathi to go, and these Kenya Kwanza members of parliament to go. In a nutshell, Kenyans want Ruto to dissolve parliament. Let's go for fresh elections. That's what Kenyans want. But if you look at Ruto, can he resign? I strongly believe that William Ruto cannot resign voluntarily. He has to be forced to quit. He has to be forced to quit. And that's why it's important. Kenyans should constantly and persistently put pressure on Ruto. It's through that pressure that William Ruto returned the finance bill back to parliament. So Kenyans should persistently and consistently pile pressure on Ruto. He is the problem. Let me stop it there, ladies and gentlemen. If you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give the video a like. And to those watching us outside Kenya, drop a comment, let us know from which part of the globe you are watching us from. If possible, subscribe, give the video a like. Thank you. God bless you.